the recent news about former President Trump being taken off of the Colorado ballot by the Colorado Supreme Court in a 4-3 decision. We're going to talk about this, but first, let's hear how it was talked about across the news outlets. And here's Gayle King from CBS News when it broke.
The Colorado Supreme Court has ruled that former President Donald Trump is not eligible to be on that state's Republican primary ballot and is, in fact, disqualified from being president again. In a 4-3 decision, the court ruled that Donald Trump violated the U.S. Constitution by inciting the mob that attacked the Capitol on January 6th.
Love as that sounds playing. Nick is texting me about Oprah Winfrey's best friend being a journalist. We're going to move on from that.
I'm a hater. And you see Kervin nodding his head.
He is
sorry,
a hater.
I'm not going to let it go, what she did with Kobe's passing. That was a stupid question.
Okay, Mr. Saveri, we leave it there. I do want to read something for you guys from the actual decision itself. So this was actually in the written decision. It's 213 pages. You can go find it anywhere. I found it on npr.org. More than 3 months ago, a group of Colorado electors eligible to vote in the Republican presidential primary, both registered Republican and unaffiliated voters, filed a lengthy petition in the district court for the city and the county of Denver, asking the court to rule that former President Donald John Trump may not appear on the Colorado Republican primary ballot. Invoking provisions, of Colorado's Uniform Election Code of 1992, and obviously we all know the election code of 1992 in Colorado, the electors requested that the district court prohibit Jenna Griswold, not to be confused with the Griswold family from National Lampoon, in her official capacity as Colorado's Secretary of State, from placing President Trump's name on the presidential primary ballot. They claim Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, we're going to get into all of that, disqualified the president from seeking presidency. And so the court ruled 4-3. Now I'm not reading from the opinion anymore. They said that he was ineligible under Section 3 because he engaged in insurrection on January 6, 2021. Before I get everybody's opinions on all this, and we do a little roundtable discussion on this, I do want to play the man who held the highest office in the land under the former president, as Attorney General Bill Barr was asked about this when he was on State of the Union. He was on The Lead with Jake Tapper. Jake's got 2 shows. And this is what he said. Take a listen to this.
As you know, I strongly oppose Donald Trump for the Republican nomination. But I think that this case is legally wrong and untenable. And I think this kind of action of stretching the law, taking these hyper-aggressive positions to try to knock Trump out of the race are counterproductive. They backfire. As you know, he feeds on grievance, just like a fire feeds on oxygen. And this is going to end up as a grievance that helps him.
So we come back here. Now we're going to get a little bit of taste of what Can We Please Talk does. But also, I want to get the This Week Explain crew's opinions on this. So we're going to go bottom corner to all the way around on my screen, which is, we're going to start with Nick first, my co-host. So Nick, you've actually met Bill Barr. You've heard him speak before. Interest of full disclosure, we've invited the former Attorney General on. We do have somebody coming on in the new year to actually discuss this, who was part of the Trump impeachment trial, the second one that happened. So more on that after the new year. But Nick, Colorado ballot taken off. There's the court of law. There's the court of public opinion. Donald Trump is probably winning that right now because of being removed from this. We're going to find out where this all nets out in the court of law. What do you make of it all?
Yes, it's true. I didn't really meet, Attorney General Barr, but I was at a thing he spoke at a while back. It's hard to take someone seriously who took the Mueller report and turned it basically into a 3rd grade, book report, about 3 paragraphs. So that aside, there is truth to that idea about, the whole fire oxygen thing is true. Trump is a gas bag. So any slight against him, he will find a way to make himself the aggrieved party. Look no further than the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2011. But as I'm saying all this, I'm looking at, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, and it is a shaky ground. I'm not a lawyer. And it's funny because I'm in a text group with a lot of my buddies from college, most of which Mike knows, who are all attorneys. And this has been a back and forth that they've all had. And, one thing that's been brought up is, well, if you're going to apply this precedent here, would you also apply it to a precedent where if you've had a member of Congress also be a part of any form of protest? Because this is a loose interpretation of when we say the idea of shall have, quoted from the 14th Amendment, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same being the state. It's a stretch. I do agree with the former Attorney General in that. At the same time, what's interesting here is this is a Supreme Court that seems to lean on states' rights. I mean, they made it clear that with Roe versus Wade, the state should decide what a woman should be able to do with her body, which is obviously asinine. But that's how it is. The Second Amendment, same thing. Oh, no, the Second Amendment actually was more about making sure that no state can try to impinge upon the Second Amendment. So the court's pretty inconsistent with this in terms of which way they want to lead. In this case, it'll be interesting to see what the court does. I mean, forget political alliances aside. And they're very clear at this point. Everything we've learned from Sam Alito's quick turnaround on his decision, Justice, I'm forgetting his, it was one, forget his name.
I know who you're talking about. Kavanaugh.
Yeah. No, the other Gorsuch. Yeah, Gorsuch took about 10 seconds to make that, turn around his decision on the overturn of Roe versus Wade. We know which way they may go politically, but this is going to be a tough case to carry. And the other argument that's going to come up too is that, the way this is written, this says here as a member of Congress, officer of the United States, or a member of any state legislature. I think where this may hang a little bit is, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state. And if we're going to say executive, technically the executive branch is the presidency. And that probably is where they're making this argument from. I do think this runs counter to what the Democrats may hope may happen. First off, the state of Colorado hasn't elected a Democrat. The Electoral College in Colorado has not gone the way for the Democrats or for the Republicans since 2004. Right. So were those electoral votes going to go to Trump anyway? Who knows? But this could easily become a situation where you're going to start having members of Congress in red states, for example, Tennessee, that had 3 lawmakers kicked out because they had basically questioned state legislature over, I believe, the Second Amendment. According to this, if this precedent holds, you could start having states like Tennessee or any Republican-leaning state start using this to throw out members of their own state legislature or even their own member of Congress. And I think that's where this gets really sticky. I'm not going to say which way the Supreme Court will weigh in on that. I let the 9 of them decide this. But yeah, my reaction at first was, okay, look, Colorado's made their own decision, so be it. But I don't know where the court will go on this. And I also think, too, that this does run the possibility of starting to have a complete free-for-all of people getting thrown out of Congress or the White House because a particular state feels a certain way about them in terms of an election.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Before I turn to the hosts of This Week Explained and get your thoughts on it, TV mic here. I'm going to put my TV hat on, okay? This is what you have to do here, folks, when you go on TV. You have to play very umpire, right? You got to call balls and strikes, okay? So I wouldn't say this on TV. I didn't vote for the former president, right? In either 2016 or 2020. You may be able to glean that a little bit. Doesn't matter. But what I do know is that it is wrong to do this and overturn a lower court's decision because the lower court wasn't able to say that he actually committed this. And he's not charged with this from Jack Smith's investigation and charges that came from that. He's not actually charged with insurrection. So saying that he participated in it, even though he's not charged with it or found guilty of it, that they shouldn't be ruling on something that hasn't happened. There's always this thing in the court of law, and I'm saying this as a criminal justice minor who knows nothing about the law. There was always this saying that like they'll look at other states or case precedent and try to bring it in, to when they're talking about, hey, the previous precedent from this case, blah, 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 blah. And that's why the court should rule in this decision. There is no precedent with this. We just mentioned it. We've never had this. He's not charged with it. So we're taking him off. Everyone that I've talked to in the legal community fully expects the Supreme Court to overrule this, probably unanimously, from what I've been told from some legal experts. I think it's very unfair to do this, and it sets a bad precedent. Let the voters decide at the ballot box. Let the courts continue with his trials and figure out where that plays out. Kervin, you've been nodding your head. This is very important here. We've got to figure out. I love that Vivek Ramaswamy told me that he's going to take himself off Colorado's ballot, to which I wrote, you're not making it to Colorado, so I don't even know what you're doing. But give me a little bit of what you guys think of this, because I know this probably doesn't come up on your show because obviously this is U.S. politics based and stuff like that. But like, what do you make of this playing out, court of law and court of public opinion? Because now holidays, everyone's going to be talking about this. It's one state. It's always blue. It's never red. Like, it truly doesn't matter because he was probably going to win, like Nick said, the electoral votes. But it does matter because it sets a bad precedent. What do you guys make of it?
Because I haven't read up too much on this, but I agree with everything Mike said. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he hasn't been convicted of any of these crimes, and how can you punish somebody for something that they haven't been held accountable for yet? And
right,
who else would they put on the ballot if they don't put Trump? Like, who else? Who's the alternative? Does anybody know who the alternative?
It's only for primary voters.
It's only for the primary. Okay, like I said, I didn't read.
Right. It's only for the primary. So the other candidates that are, again, and this is why we were joking about Vivek saying he's going to take himself off the ballot. He's not going to be there because he's going to drop out. But
right.
By the time this probably publishes, he may be out of here. So because there's going to be a consolidation after Iowa of, either Nikki Haley, DeSantis calling it quits. And then when they get to Colorado's not till March, the Colorado primary. So it's a long way from now. That's what, and this is the perfect thing. And this is why I like that you're here, Tiana, because there are people that don't understand that. Like, they'll say, I don't get it. So Trump can't run for president? No. Who said that? He can't, he's running for president.
Right.
It's one particular state, and it's only their state Supreme Court. And the case could still go to the U.S. Supreme Court and get overturned. So and the reason why this is going to get expedited is because the primary season is about to start. And so ballots have to be printed. And so, because obviously it's 2024 and we have to print actual ballots. So you're going to actually have to have Donald Trump's name on there where people can actually put it in, or he's got to be written in, because you can still write in, the former president. All right, Kervin, what do you make of it? As somebody in tune, I can tell over here, you're nodding your head, then you're shaking your head, and I don't know if it's the Saints game or I don't know if it's the Donald Trump. So give me a little bit of what you're thinking.
All right, I turned the Saints game off since we started this, so I'll get to it later. But all I want to say, so this is the problem I had with when President Trump was president with the impeachment. This sets a bad precedent. We want to impeach him because we don't like him. Well, look what the Republican Party is doing now, impeaching Joe Biden just because we don't like him. It's something that Tiana and I have had conversations about where we both agree on, where it's like, yeah, don't do that. Everything that has happened. So we got Trump. I tell this to friends of mine. You guys are now friends of ours. The reason we got Trump is because of what you did to Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's the most vanilla candidate you could ever find in your entire life. And you said he was racist, sexist. He wanted to kill his dog. He's going to throw grandma off the ledge. And people believed it. And we got another 4 years of Obama. I think Obama did a great job as president. I think he was a great statesman. But the same stuff happened when Trump ran in 2016. The same comments started to happen. And people said, hold up, wait a second. You told me that Mitt Romney, who was the exact opposite of Donald Trump, I think we can all agree on that. Personality-wise, he's the exact opposite of Donald Trump. You said that Mitt Romney was the worst person. Now it's Donald Trump is the worst person. I do not believe that now. I don't believe you anymore. And that's why we got Donald Trump in 2016. The Democratic Party is doing the exact same thing in this election. They are trying to throw, it's Teflon Don all over again. You're trying to throw things at Donald Trump and it's not sticking because 33% of the Republican base is, so Donald Trump made the comment in the 2016 election that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and he would still get the same amount of votes. I disagreed with that when he said it. History has now proved that I was wrong on that. I really believe that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and 33% of the Republican base will still vote for him. They could see the video footage and say, I don't believe that was Donald Trump. And then you zoom in and high def and say that is Donald Trump. And they'd say, well, he or she probably deserved it. That is where we're at right now. Teflon Don, everything that's thrown at him, he has gotten lawyers to have a judge not be able to convict him of it. This, what Colorado has done, is going to get Donald Trump elected in 2024. And if you like Donald Trump, that's good for you. If you don't like Donald Trump, you're doing the wrong thing.
Hey, thanks for watching the Can We Please Talk podcast. Whatever clip you just watched, we hope you enjoyed it. And we hope you stick around for some more. Subscribe to the channel. My partner's over here smashing the button. Come on, do him a favor. So hit subscribe.